What can you say about Pokémon? An idea that blossomed into a gigantically enormous franchise and made schools ban it, and parents scratch their heads, and occupy most of our attention. There's really not much to say about its success that you don't already know. Let's just say it started out as a very unique idea by none other than Satoshi Tajiri. Or Tajiri. I don't know. In fact, it happened when Satoshi was a very little boy running around in Machida, Japan, catching bugs and collecting them and stuff. However, in the late 1970s, the forests and fields that Satoshi loved as a kid were paved over by apartments and parking lots. Which sucked for his bug-catching career, but thanks to that fact, good things happened. Good things. Anyway, years later, the idea was that he imagined the potential a link cable. Yes, a link cable! The true creator of Pokémon could bestow upon us all. Little did our friend Satoshi know that this was a stroke of pure genius. To be honest, that was what attracted me to the Pokémon games, the ability to be yourself, catch and raise whatever monster you wanted, and have amazing strategic battles with one another on separate systems. To me, and hopefully most of you, that was the idea that sparked our young and feeble imaginations. To begin making the game, Tajiri named his development company Game Freak, after the early magazine he and his friends created and published. Nintendo agreed to publish the in-development game, with some persuading by Mario Man himself, Shigeru Miyamoto. Tajiri hired friend, artist, and illustrator Ken Sugimori, who is the graphic genius that personally designed all 151 Pokémon monsters. Not to mention the Gold and Silver 100, which we'll talk about later. Yeah, it's his wonderful watercolor art that graces many Pokémon items, including the box art for all of the Pokémon games. Don't you just love his official Pokémon pictures he dishes out from time to time? To date, I believe Ken has drawn 3 different official drawings for each of the original 151 Pokémon, beginning with the rigid first editions, to the super fluid look I drank too much Red Bull second ones, to the digital paintings. Each time the designs somehow showed a certain evolution. I wish I could draw like that. There have been a few concept art pieces released, however, due to the money-hungry and careless nature of this franchise, pathetically small information has been released on the making of these games. The characters, the monsters, the places, and overall how they actually came up with the whole thing is not available to look at. It's sad, because I remember going to the local library as a kid and stumbling upon this picture book called The Art of Pokémon the First Movie. I got excited. Being extremely interested in how movies and games are developed, I thought, oh, this must be like The Art of Star Wars or Jurassic Park. Books that had old sketches and paintings about how the look and design for everything was developed over the course of the film's making. As it should be. But no, this was a total waste of wood, ink, and effort. In this book were simply screenshots from the movie with lame descriptions from the story. That's so pointless. This was proof to me that this creative and fresh idea has garnered no respect from the industry that created it. It's very disappointing. With that said, there's hardly any more pre-release to talk about. Moving right along, we'll just say, after some hard work, Pocket Monsters Red and Green were released through Nintendo in Japan on February 27, 1996. But since most of us Americans weren't there when it happened, they made enough money to make a reprogramming in the form of Pocket Monsters Blue. Plus, it triggered the inevitable Pokemon anime show and trading cards. Whoopee. Okay, that's great and all, but what happened in the United States? Are we ready to understand and rediscover how all this went down? Indeed we are. And since none of us have any idea how the idea of marketing and releasing Pokemon in the United States and the rest of the non-Japanese people, which would have been such an interesting read, I'll just get to what many of us experienced in the wee days of 1998, when this commercial popped up.
You've been selected to receive the sneak peek about a phenomenon called Pokémon, a hit TV show, a Game Boy game, and loads of other cool things that are about to take America by storm!
Gotta catch 'em all! Gotta catch 'em all! A sneak peek at Pokémon.
Pokémon!
The journey's just begun!
Pokémon!
More the better!
Well, it all starts with the TV show September 7th. My nephew, Ash, he just turned 10, is the show's star. His dream is to become a Pokemon master.
Pokémon. Yep.
Geodudes are really tough. I'm partial to the fire element monsters.
This is a Pokeball.
In the world of Pokemon, 10-year-olds are eligible to become Pokemon trainers. Ash received his first Pokemon, Pikachu, from Professor Oak and began his long journey.
That's right. I hereby declare to the Pokemon of the world, I will be the greatest Pokemon trainer, the greatest Pokemon master of all time!
Okay, enough of that. I actually never saw that commercial. Who did? The strategy here was introducing the Pokemon fad. Not only the games, but the anime and the merchandise. Nevertheless, on September 1st, 1998, many of us put that cartridge in that Game Boy, and what we saw after we turned it on would take our interest for a long, long time.